Hey there, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I thought I'd talk a little bit today about martial arts and the opponent. So a lot of people think that they can get to martial arts ability without an actual opponent, without learning to fight, without taking punches, without hitting and punching and grappling and sweating and doing all that messy stuff. They think you can get there by reading and studying and going through forms and working with energies in your body and doing drills with cooperative partners. So I think that those people are really in danger of losing an important fight, which is the fight that you're going to face if someone ever challenges you. Because if you have never fought and you have never taken a punch and you have never done any of that stuff, and you get into a real fight and think that you're going to woo them out of the way, you might be right, but often I think you will be wrong, and you will end up losing that fight. Now, there are people who use Tai Chi as kind of a health yoga, or martial arts as a health yoga. They do it for their health, for their cardio fitness, for balance, for agility, for good posture, incredibly important aspect of the martial arts. You know, I'm not talking about combat, but when you get into the arty stuff, postures and proper dynamics and all that kind of stuff, and the principles of blending and harmonizing, all these great things, while they won't train you to be a fighter unless you fight and try to escalate the pressure on your system to be able to respond to that. But they will really help you in the fight against another opponent that we hardly ever think about, which is gravity plus time. So I think that people who sort of dismiss forms and all kinds of martial yoga that isn't under martial pressure, but except for gravity, like forms, drills, compliant things, all these kind of basic training of martial arts, but not actually the fighting part. If you dismiss all that stuff, you might lose the fight against gravity because you didn't take it seriously and you only took the opponent seriously. So if you fight the opponent and all of your martial arts is about the opponent, the hypothetical opponent, the real opponent in the ring or the opponent on the street, hypothetically or real, your attention is on the opponent. What you can forget sometimes is that when that fight is over, the second it's over, the fight doesn't stop. Now the opponent is here, gravity. The opponent of gravity is on you anytime, all the time. And it is like Bruce Lee in the sky waiting for you to fuck up. And when you trip and your center goes out a little ahead of you, or when you reach for something and your back goes out, the gravity goes, it is absolutely ruthless and absolutely unbargainable. You can't bargain with it. You can't bribe it. It's not compassionate. It is driving everything into the ground. And it's going to win. You're going to lose. You're going to die. All your elements are going to go back into the earth. But it doesn't have to be a blowout. Right? You can push back, and you can have good posture, and you can have good structure, and you can have good situational awareness, and you can have loose joints that are ready to adapt to the situation you're in, and you can have pretty strong legs and a decently strong spine and core, and you can be pretty well aware of yourself in the world, and that will really help you against the opponent of gravity, right? You might not be able to fight at all. You're not a fighter. You don't know how to put all these things together and make them work in a free-for-all situation, but you are winning and have a good chance of continuing to win against the opponent that is absolutely certain. This guy is not certain. The physical opponent, that's crapshoot. You don't know if that's going to happen. But gravity, every fucking day, it's working on you every day. I'm 67, believe me, I know. And studying these forms as I've gotten older and just trying to stay on one leg and balance and do these things requires me to strengthen and work on and correct and fix different things every year or two as I'm getting older. I'm working on different stuff. None of it's an attainment. It all requires maintenance. So just because I could do a fantabulous kick when I was 28 years old doesn't mean I can do it now. That's not me. This is me. So for this guy to be able to do that form, I have to study it. I have to repair it, and I have to maintain it. And I don't know what's going to go next. And nobody's healthier and more strong and more vital and more agile when they're 91 than when they were 81. It doesn't really happen that way. So the capacities go down, and you don't know the order they're going to go down in. So I don't know the order they're going to go down in. So for me, these forms are like necessary maintenance in my body for rotation, for lift, for looseness in the joints, for flexibility, agility, footwork, balance, all that stuff. I'm doing that stuff all the time. And I consider myself winning at 67 against the opponent that is absolutely 100% for sure coming for me. Gravity, right? So I may not be a fighter. I have a few tools. I hit some pads. I can hit pretty hard. I've got some spatial awareness and stuff, but I've never been in a fight. So I do the best I could with the tools I got. I've never built a birdhouse either. Give me a bunch of good tools. I'll do my best. I'll come up with something. So you'll recognize it as a birdhouse. So if I'm in a fight, chances are you'll know you were in a fight. But I may very well lose because I don't fight. But I do hit pads, and I do have good distancing and range of motion and a few tricks and stuff. I got some tools. But the main fight that I'm interested in is the gravity fight. That's the main one. So I encourage you, if you tend to dismiss forms and yogas and all that kind of stuff as just extraneous to your main thing, which is fighting, just recognize that you're also fighting gravity, and it's winning if you're not attending to that. So you can like do all this great stuff in the ring or on the street, and I love that stuff. I'm not putting it down. But when it's over, are you aligning yourself with gravity so that gravity goes through you vertically and not horizontally? Neck sticking out, chest collapsed, low back overarched or over tucked, or are you used to standing on one locked leg all the time and then locking the other hip? Can you walk smoothly? All these kind of things. These are gravity things, and these are things that catch up with you. And Mike Tyson in the sky, very patiently waiting for you to make a mistake. So I encourage you, if you are a fighter martial artist, to also have a yogic Tai Chi or a yoga practice or some kind of form practice where you can work on alignment with just you and gravity and not thinking just about that opponent, but also this opponent. Don't lose this fight, because this will fuck you up and send you to the hospital and give you just as many troublesome, painful days as getting beat up on the street will. This can even be worse, and it often is. For most people, it is worse because they're never beaten up on the street. But they end up in a lot of problems by not attending to gravity as they get older. Hip replacements, knee replacements, cervical vertebrae fusions, all kinds of arthritis, all kinds of different... I'm not saying these things aren't going to happen, but it doesn't have to be a blowout if you're working with that and using gravity to go this way instead of this way, that way, and stressing out your body on the way down. So I would say if you're strictly focused on the fighting opponent, give some thought to the gravity opponent. And if you're strictly focused on the gravity opponent, just on your personal alignment and stuff, maybe give some thought to putting a little more pressure on that in your partner work so that those things go deeper. Those principles go deep when you do partner work, especially when a partner is really trying to come after you. So once again, it's not this or that. It's not just forms or just fighting. I'm advocating, kind of the yin-yang thing of, instead of making it one or the other, temper each one with the other. Have good posture, but put it under a little bit of fighting pressure. If you're a fighter, fight, but put a little bit of the form practice in there so that you're also attending to the sneakiest opponent, which is the long-term one, which is gravity and time. So I'm just encouraging you to kind of put them together and not be so one-sided the way some people are, because I hear some fighters just poo-poo all forms and all that stuff is just a waste of time. And then other people, because sometimes the benefits take a while to get there. You may be able to, you walk a circle in Bagua, you feel like this isn't helping my fighting, but it's helping your walking and it's helping your posture. And you don't care, you're 45 or something. You want something that martial. But when you're 65 or 75 or 85, that walking and that upright posture, you're going to be the only one who's your age, who's even alive, much less has that posture. So some benefits take some time, and they don't necessarily relate to the physical opponent. They relate to the gravity one. or the personal one more than as much as the gravity one. So balance, balance, balance. That's what it always comes down to for me. That's my Taoism. My Taoism is really simple. The yin-yang sign, I accept that as a model for a reconciliation for all polar opposites. That symbol is something I accept. So I don't look at good or evil, selfish or selfless, cooperative or competitive, civilized or wild. To me, they temper. Self-interest without a balance is evil. Selflessness without a balance, really it's just as evil. Put them together. You balance the needs of the self and the needs of your community. It's a great way to live. That and Wu Wei, try to find the most natural, unforced actions that you can find. Flow more, force less. I'm not trying to do zero force. Sometimes you have to use force. You have to. But we're human. We have to. We're not 100% in the moment ever, or very rarely. So yeah, use as little force as possible and do the things that come the most naturally to you instead of trying to force your way into something or force your way to be something. And accept that the yin and yang balance is the underlying state of things, that extremes can be reconciled by including the opposite, not beating the opposite. There's my Taoism for you, folks, and how it relates to forms and temple work versus combatives and street and ring work. Lean a little over here if you're too far over here. Lean a little over here if you're too far over here. Balance, baby. All right, take good care. Good luck with your practice, and I hope we see you down the line. If any of this is helpful, drop me a comment. It's always nice to know. All right, take care.